Would like to welcome all of you to this living teaching of Advaita. If you are online and would like to ask a question or make a comment, then instructions on how to raise your hand electronically can be found in the chat window.
Yeah, the first part of my question, do you want us to move down so you don't have to stretch your neck over the spine?
No, I'm fine.
You're perfect, okay, good. So I've been looking through some interesting texts. I mean, there's no lack of them, I mean, that's for sure. And there seems to be an unfolding kind of a feeling that comes up when I reflect on non-dualism texts, not anything else beyond that, in the sense that when I come up with thoughts and ideas about how to unpack or to translate or to reflect on the passage, but somehow all of that kind of just in a sense dissipates. I mean, it comes up and then it kind of goes away. And the question I have is, in your experience, what have the value of these texts been for you in your process of seeking?
I mean, over the years that I was seeking actively, those texts provided pointers that I hadn't considered before. So they directed my attention into areas that I had never looked, and it didn't occur to me to look.
Do you find that you go back and look at any of the books that are over here, or is that not something that happens any longer?
No, it's been a long time
That's
since I've read a spiritual book of any kind, be it mine or anybody else's. It's simply not of particular interest to me.
I think the thing that's been very liberating about this teaching is the movement of looking at anything that's written or that I receive as a kind of a more of a pointer. I think that has been really helpful for me to look at and reflect upon, and then to just kind of let it go as it wills. I'm sure there's another question in there somewhere, but really it was about the seating. I want to make sure that you're also comfortable.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, Jim.
You answered my question.
I answered your question.
I was wondering if you remembered me.
Oh. Hello, Jim.
Hi. And I do have a question.
Yes.
I'm very interested in if you could expand on how you understand consciousness, what consciousness means.
The short answer to that is no.
Okay.
For me, the term consciousness is simply a pointer to that which is. So there's no further value for me in the concept beyond its ability to point to something potentially that when you look, you see what is being pointed at with that term. But the attempt to grasp it and to know what it is
But it does seem to be elusive in my experience. I've been wrestling with that from time to time. Um, it seems like it's the most mystical idea is the word that comes to mind. Really in my life. And that's my experience is it's not graspable. And so I was just wondering if you had some more angle on that, but
To
sounds
enable you to grasp it? I'm sorry.
Thank you. It's nice to see you again.
My name is Robert.
Hello, Robert.
Hello.
Have we met before, Robert?
No, only online.
I see.
I've seen you and
Uh-huh.
I'm a friend of Jim's from '70s, early time. Was introduced to you through him
I see.
and I sort of had something that I've been bouncing around with and I think it's in the same vein.
Okay.
I got into this, somebody had told me the idea is to be aware of awareness. So I danced with that for a while. And I found that what I thought I was doing was getting into the pointer itself and not what it was being pointed at. So it's almost like, I'd like to get your thought on this. It's almost like, I was told, somebody told me, they said, well, don't play around there. You get distracted, just be. And what it tells you to be is just to be in that. It's delightful. It's like, don't read the books anymore. You got it. And don't be the seeker anymore, almost.
Well, that is one of the popular notions floating around.
What do you think?
What do I think? I think it's a popular notion floating around, one of many. Yeah. So, I mean, and you can be told that the seeking is the obstruction and that basically you're a fucking idiot if you're still seeking because everybody who's in the know isn't seeking anymore. Is already just being, so, the fact that you're still like thinking about this stuff like that obviously suggests that you're lagging far behind in the spiritual way. So
Right. This is what happens.
it does happen. And so it's all part of that dance in this world.
So here we are.
That is my notion. Here we are. This is happening. And it includes everything. It includes all the nonsense. It includes all of the seeking, all of the trying, all of the effort, all of the doing and the not doing. Everything is included in this.
That's a very freeing concept.
It certainly is.
Yes. It's like weight leaving.
It is. That is liberation.
This is
To be
just be.
this
Yes.
as you are. As Robert?
Yes.
As Robert. Not to have to transcend Robert in order to be that. And that Robert is part of that. As Robert is in this moment, is an aspect of that. So this, which includes Robert, is what is. And that is incredibly liberating because this is the acceptance of what is, which includes Robert. So it's like really liberating to have that weight of not of somehow feeling that I shouldn't be as I am. If that dissipates or it lifts, It's incredibly liberating and free.
It's not a self-help plan.
It is not a self-help.
Yeah. That's what I've sort of come to, it's like what surrender finally means. It's kind of where I've come to,
Mhm.
which is why I came down to visit Jim. I live in Palm Desert, and I came down to visit Jim. And one of the things that was really important to me was we found out that you were doing this today, so we wanted to make sure that we came by today.
Mhm.
And that was what I wanted to talk about. This is perfect.
Well, great. If anything else comes up, please feel free.
I will. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Yes, Jim.
If again, it sounds like if there's really nothing to do or nothing to notice or nothing to I guess I'm just going to stay with do. Then what was the point of Ramesh in your life? It almost it seems like as I'm listening to you talk today, it seems like what's the point of anything?
Mhm.
And is there a point of something? And I was thinking about your guru, your teacher, Ramesh,
Mhm.
and who I know that you've honored a number of times, at least in my presence, and I felt like I understood it. So what does a teacher, what does a guru, what is it that can be offered if it's already everything's just fine?
So there's a couple of, let's start with the first assumption that there's nothing to do. This is certainly not one of the pointers of this teaching. On the contrary, doing is absolutely essential. When you stop doing, Jim, they come and they take you and they burn you. Now, whether that doing is breathing or thinking or feeling or acting, it's doing. So you are a doer. And you must do. You are compelled to do. So to say there is nothing to do is simply nonsensical. So everything that follows from that has no basis.
Well, then are there better things to do than not to do?
Well, I certainly think so. Of course, my list of better and your list of better are different. But I certainly have a hierarchy of desires and values and needs that is part of my nature and my being, just as you do, of course. And so you function partly on the basis of that which you think is better. And I say partly because sometimes, even when you think something is better, you do something else. We all do. So there are other factors involved beyond our own values in terms of determining what we do. But our values and our desires are very much part of that, of what we do. Now, as to the point, generally, when you talk about the point, people are talking about a universal point. What is, the universe's objective here in all of this? What does God want, in having it look this way? In trying to organize all that is happening into some structure that makes sense to us as human beings, which has objective and value as part of that. So since objective is very much part of our experience, that we want to get something, we want to get somewhere, we have desires. So the question is, what is the universe's desire here? These are the questions that people ask. And to get an answer, you personify this universe, the source, the God or totality, whatever you want to call it. You objectify and personify and give it these human characteristics of having an objective and a desire and a point and trying to accomplish something. And then you ask, what is it? So the question really is, I mean, we come all the way back to the beginning, which is this source an object that could potentially have these qualities of objective and desire? And in this teaching, that is a fundamental question. Is this source an object? And the pointer, of course, is that it is not an object. Because an object has to exist within a field. And so an object is limited. And what we were pointing to is limitlessness. That which is not an object and thus is not bound, is not limited, is everything, is totality. These are the pointers. To get beyond because the mind, the intellect, can only deal in objects, in quanta, in things. So it takes inevitably this totality, and in order to understand it, know it, figure it out, deal with it, it quantifies it. In very subtle ways, perhaps. As infinity, as totality, but still it is objectified as this thing. And the transcendent, the mystical, is that going beyond this limitation of the intellect, of the mind, to know in a way that is not bound by this kind of subject-object relationship.
Wayne, there's a question from Nikita.
Yes.
Why do the heavens give me signs? Like they ask me what I'm thinking of at the moment. And they give me these signs to help me. If the law of balance says that sooner or later you're going to fall anyway. So these signs are trying to make it, they're trying to help me. And I understand and I'm grateful, but I don't understand what is the point of all these signs if in any rate I will fall and then get up again and then fall and then get up again. Why do they do it? I mean, just to seem nice?
I think. Were you able to translate that one, Maria? So Anastasia asks, does the separation exist only in the mind? The separation exists at the point of sentience.
Excuse me, Wayne, what do you mean by sentience?
sentience is the point of sensation, or where the sense is a sense mechanism of some kind. So it is in this quality of sensation that there is me and the other, this and that. And so it need not be a complex mind. It can be at the most fundamental root level of a microorganism that can sense, has the capacity to sense another, something else. It has that sense organ, if you will. So with this capacity to sense, the world is created. There then is me and the other. And the structure of the world is dependent upon that sense organ. Now, as I understand it, the theoretical physicists come at it kind of slightly backwards. What they say is that what something is dependent on what is measuring it. So whether something is a particle or a wave depends upon this sensing mechanism.
Wayne, there is a question from Yuda in the chat.
Yes.
How to use the sexual energy in order to transcend the mind?
Which energy?
Sexual.
Sexual energy. Well, there are tantric practices that are designed to utilize sexual energy for liberation. I really don't know a lot about it, but it's one of many paths, many pointers to that essential unity. In the hierarchy of paths, seems like a pretty good one to me. Yes, Stanislav.
Я сегодня весь сатсанг хотел вас что-то спросить.
All during today's
понимал, что я хочу
satsang, I wanted
спросить.
to ask you something. I didn't really understand what it was.
При этом испытывал какой-то сильный страх у вас
And
что-то спросить.
I felt for some reason a lot of
Понимал про что этот
fear
страх тоже.
about asking you, and I didn't really understand what that fear was all about.
Мне кажется, все вот, не знаю, где-то последнюю неделю
I
я
think
себя,
that the
особенно
past
после сатсангов,
week,
как-то очень
especially
странно,
after
но
the
я бы сказал, в
satsangs,
хорошую сторону
I
странно
feel strange, but
чувствую.
strange in a good way.
То есть меня не особо беспокоят
Like
какие-то
I'm
проблемы.
not really worried by like some problems, life problems.
Даже физические какие-то ощущения,
Even
типа
like
болевые ощущения стали меньше.
physical sensations, like some painful sensations, there's less of them.
Я не знаю, что это такое.
I don't know what it is.
Мысль, может, я поехал головой.
At first I thought, like maybe I'm going crazy or something.
I don't know. You're the therapist. Going crazy, it seems to be in your ballpark, not mine.
Я хотел спросить вообще, ну, это же, ну, не знаю, бывает после сатсангов, что вот какое-то такое измененное состояние, в котором просто все очень сильно как бы лучше и проще и легче и так далее. Да.
So the question is, can it be that sometimes after the satsangs, there is this state in which everything is like better and lighter and easier?
Ну, у меня бывает. И вот сегодня я заметил,
Well, I
что
do have this state,
пока
and
я
today
сидел и
I
ощущал вот этот
noticed that
страх,
while
чтобы
I'm sitting
спросить,
here,
я
I was
смотрел
sitting
на вас,
here
вы
and
говорите
being
что-то,
afraid to ask you something, and I
отвечали.
was looking at you and you were answering
Было
someone,
совершенно неважно, что вы говорите. То есть я все
and it
слышал,
was like
но ничего не
completely
слушал.
unimportant what it is you were saying, but because like I was listening to you, but like I
A
wasn't
lot
like
of people
hearing
think
you.
that, Stanislav.
Что именно?
I think what?
That it's unimportant what I'm saying.
Но я ощутил, как в процессе вот этот
But I
страх,
felt
не
that
знаю,
in the
как-то
process, this fear,
как-то преобразовался во что-то,
it
и
like
вместо
it
него появилось опять же
transformed into
какое-то
something else, and in its
спокойствие
place
и
there came this peace,
просто какое-то, я не знаю, нахождение в
um
моменте.
I don't know, just some sort of like being in the moment.
I believe you, Stanislav.
Меня немножко беспокоит, что у меня даже нет вопроса. Типа, все настолько
I'm
хорошо,
a
что у
bit
меня даже вопроса нет.
worried. I'm a bit worried because I don't even have a question. Like everything is so good that I don't even have a question. I feel so good right now.
So you want to ruin that with a question, Stanislav?
Но это же как будто недостаточно, это же типа не
But it's
полное просветление. Да.
But it's like all this is not enough. It's not like it's like total enlightenment. Like it's not like I'm enlightened yet. Like this like is not enough.
Yes, Om.
Да.
Yes.
Здравствуйте. И я
Hello.
хотел поблагодарить после последней
I
встречи
wanted
нашей.
to thank you. Like
Ваши
after
слова
our
до
last
меня дошли.
sang, your
Я
words
немного
like they
отпустил
sank
хватку
in, and I sort of
по поводу
relaxed
того, что
my grasp a little
ум
bit.
торопил события.
Like
Желания,
before
мечты
that,
и все остальное,
my
все быстрее, быстрее.
mind, it was like always telling me to go
И
faster, for
я
things to happen
пронаблюдал
faster. And I was witnessing
отрывками,
it.
моментами,
Like I was
что
witnessing like
события
these moments, these events.
случаются сами.
And I was witnessing that these events, they
И
happen by
мне стало
themselves.
немного спокойнее,
And
мне
I
стало легче.
became a bit
Но у
calmer.
меня
It
вопрос
became a bit
такой.
easier
То есть
for me. But I
получается,
have this question.
у эго, у ума
Like the ego,
есть свои
the
цели, желания,
mind,
мечты.
they have their own desires and
И
goals and
есть просто
dreams.
событийность,
And then there are just
у которой
events,
тоже есть,
like just
как сказать,
what it is that is happening,
предопределенность.
and they
То
and
есть
they have
как-то я
this,
вовлечен в эту деятельность. Так получается.
like they
И
happen and they are sort of like predestined or something, and I'm involved in these activities.
понятно, я
So
сказал.
the pointer of this teaching is that even your desires and objectives are happenings also.
Они тоже мне даны, так получается?
So they're also like given to me. Am I correct?
That is the pointer for you to look at and see.
То есть я думал, что если желание вот в уме, то это как бы ложное, да, потому что эго
I
хочет.
thought that if the desire is in the mind, it's sort of like a false desire because that's what the
Как
ego
отличить,
wants.
если есть
How
desire, ну,
do
есть
I
какие-то истинные, да,
um,
а есть какие-то ложные?
tell them apart? Like there's some desires which are like true and some which are false. So how do I tell them apart?
Yes. So again, the pointer of this teaching is that what converts a desire that arises into suffering is a secondary involvement in the desire. And what is getting involved in a secondary way is this false sense of being an independent entity. So it is this very root quality that what I am is an independent entity. It is this which attaches to, from time to time, attaches to various things that happen. Then the claim is, I am responsible for this happening. Because I am an independent entity, I make it happen from my own power. So this teaching is pointing you to look and see if this is true. Do you make your desires arise? Do you truly make your objectives arise? Or do they arise out of your being? And if they arise out of your being, did you make your being this way?
Эго все присваивает, так получается.
So it's the ego which claims everything. Is that right?
Yes. What you're calling the ego, I call this false sense of authorship.
Внутренний делатель, да, автор. Всё. Внутренний делатель, автор. Все, я понял.
So it's like the inner doer is the author, right?
The inner claimer of the doing.
Да. Я потихоньку заземляюсь. Благодарю, спасибо большое.
Thank you very much. I'm sort of like becoming more grounded as we speak. Длинный. A question from Nikita. Why are we given different lessons and they keep on getting repeated over and over again, like until we get them, if we're not the authors and if we're just instruments and nothing depends on us? Because they can do or not do anything without us, like just based on their own will. And they, for some reason, are testing us just as if it were we who were the authors. And if we like sin, then they punish us. Why? We're just the instruments through which they act. So it's the same thing as if a person butchered like a cow and it was the knife that was punished and not the person. The one who is responsible should be the one to answer for it. But what we see is that the one who answers for everything are just the instruments in the hands of the higher powers. This really surprises me very much, and I don't know how to reconcile these facts. Please explain them to me.
So, Nikita, people have been asking these questions for thousands of years. Why is the universe this way? Why does it look like this? Why is there evil? Why is there hardship? If you really want answers, even though you've been coming here and heard me say many times, I don't have any answers. If you still want answers, you need to go to church. If you go to church, and they're easy to find, they have these big crosses on them. You can go there and you go inside, and there are people in these uniforms, black uniforms, and you ask them, why is the universe this way? Why is there evil? Why am I being tested? Why am I being punished? They will tell you. They will give you the answer. Yes, Lara,
Hi, Wayne. Can you hear me well?
I can.
Okay. I want to share with you a
Can you hear
poem that
me,
came.
Lara?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. I want to share a poem that came to me during a satsang a few weeks ago. Can I do it?
Okay.
Okay. Something in the air smells like blooming flowers, and it is so fair to exist like lovers, accepting all what is, in a miracle happening that I hardly can believe the grace it is. And when it smells like shit, the miracle is still there, more hard to believe, but still part of what is.
Hello. Can you hold on 1 second? Switch. Yes, I've forgotten your name.
I am Adam.
Adam, yes.
Yeah, and I helped you with translations last year.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, this is my second time visiting your home. Yeah, and I'm happy to be here.
Well, welcome back, Adam.
So a lot has happened to me in like last year, and probably midlife crisis, lost job, lost family,
Oh, I'm very sorry.
yeah, lost in life. However, I realized I still resist the life, and I have like an idea that I want to be more authentic, more real, like less conditioned, and like
What do you mean less conditioned?
like we are conditioned by society to behave like you go to school, go to college, marry, get a job, look
Yes.
for money, and like I have disappointed all this stuff. I'm 37 and have no home, no job, no family, and but I still have an idea that I um, I should more trust life, be like I still feel resistance, and I love that you telling us that Advaita is a living teaching, that it's about life, and life itself can be defined. And I have an idea that I should self-surrender, self-accept myself, and to just be life. And that idea like entertains me a lot. But
Well, the teaching is not telling you what you should do.
yeah, that's me telling myself.
Yes, okay,
Right.
I wanted to be clear.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I like, of course, I've been into your teaching for many years, to be honest, and I'm happy. I'm disappointed in my spiritual or path. Disappoint in you, and that's like a lot of disappointment helps me like clear my mind, I believe. Yeah, and
So let's go back to this conditioning thing. We are conditioned.
of
I mean,
course,
we are conditioned by our society, by our experience,
Yes.
by all that happens to us. What I hear you saying is you don't want to, you say you want to be less conditioned. What I'm hearing is you want to be conditioned in a different way.
no, I believe this source of life inside me, and I
Yes.
just resist that. Like like last year I had depression. I wanted to die to cease being a human.
Yes,
But I'm still alive. I'm
yes,
still a unique human being,
yes.
and I'm trying to realize what it's like to be me, what it's like to be a unique human, and like
Obviously, sometimes very difficult and painful.
yes, I've seen some shit, gone through some pain,
Clearly, I
and
hear that.
and but I still believe something. I'm still curious what it's like to be human, and what it's like to surrender to like life. I still believe in a supernatural force, and I can feel it, but I still I have a lot of fear in my body, in my mind, and so like I'm a lot of into psychology, into like somatic practices, into I've even tried some like substances, but it didn't go well. So
Hmm.
so yeah, I just want to surrender to the life because like living teaching of Advaita is the greatest pointer I've ever known about the life, which is like undefined flow everywhere, and
Yes, and it includes all of these difficulties. It includes all of these desires, the desire to surrender, the difficulty in surrendering. All of this is happening.
but basically, first of all, I'm a unique human like all of you, and this is the
Yes.
great experience to be a human, unique human. And this is like I want to like enjoy it like full scale, not like miserably.
Yes, of course. Of course.
And I still believe like we all are part of the flow of life, and we all have like creative power, that energy to be responsible for our life. Like I got a lot of freedom in my life.
What do you mean by the power to be responsible for your life? I don't understand what
Yeah,
that means.
because responsibility of a human, like not in like this is when you get freedom, when you can create, this is also as a human, I also get this responsibility to about my health, physical health, mental health, my well-being, well-being of other people. That's
But I don't understand what you mean when you say this responsibility.
right.
Are you saying that you have some inherent power to do something?
I have a
To
theory
take care of your
that
health?
like okay, I'm a unique human being.
Yes.
I have mind, I have thoughts,
Yes,
and I have emotions,
yes,
and I still believe that our intentions, what we are like very, very like slight, very like intentions are matters. This is what the most.
Our intentions matter. Is that what you
Yes,
said?
yeah, I believe that.
But what is responsible for your intention arising? How is it that
because
the intention
like,
comes up in you?
being a human means having like our desires, intentions, having like we all need like food,
Yes.
like sleep,
Yes.
and taking care of myself. That's like natural. That's, for example, that's a responsibility. For example, to and
This is where I'm still not understanding what you mean by responsibility. We have, yes, you have all of these inherent qualities, clearly, that you have desires, you have intentions, you have a physicality which demands certain things, air, water,
yeah.
food. All of these things are built into the system. But what do you mean by responsibility?
Being a human means being part of society. Yeah, if I go to like an uninhabitable island or like I can live without society. But that's not the path I choose. I choose to be part of society, to abide laws, for example. That's to earn money. That's even you need money, right?
Everybody
That's
does, yeah.
that's a natural like. Society, being a human also means being a part of society. Society is
Yes,
is
it does.
yes, and society is built on like our responsibilities, and
It, again, we keep coming back to this question of what do you mean by responsibilities? Because yes, society is built on common characteristics. We need each other for certain things, and there's this incredible balance between, in societies, as you look around, of conflict and attraction. So
it's a balance.
of competition.
Yeah.
There's all of these balances going on, playing out through us. But what do you mean by responsibility? All of this is happening, I grant you.
Yeah, I know there is a paradox between like surrendering and being responsible, but I see like no problem being like surrendered inside and being responsible outside.
But again, what do you mean by being responsible at it?
Like
And I don't need an answer from
Yeah.
you. Let's just leave it there, and that perhaps in your examinations, in your looking, this may be an avenue that could be fruitful for you to see what it is you mean when you talk about being responsible. Because often, and I'm not saying that this is necessarily the case, but often when people talk about being responsible, they're talking about having personal power, the ability to author something, that it is up to me. And this is the point at which this teaching shines a spotlight to say, what is it that enables you to fulfill your responsibilities, what you feel is right, what you desire to be as a person, to be kind and generous and loving and helpful and cooperative and all of these things, to be part of society. What enables you to do it one day, and another day you're selfish and you're dishonest and you're afraid and you're grasping and you're competitive. What is it responsible for how you are in a given moment? these are the questions that the teaching provides you as places to look, in the hope that perhaps there will be a deeper insight.
Thank you, Wayne.
You're very welcome.
When Nikita continues with his question in the chat, and he says that what I meant to ask is that does this depend on me or not? I'm sorry that maybe I wasn't quite clear in the way that I phrased my question. So does it depend?
The question is always, when you ask, is it dependent upon you? Do you mean, is it dependent upon me for something to happen? Which is, the answer is often yes. Or is it dependent on me as the author for something to happen? And then the teaching suggests the answer is no. So the universe is dependent on us to be as we are. We must be this. We must do this in order for the universe to be this way. So the universe is dependent on us in that way. Because we are part of this wholeness. We are integral to this wholeness. And we can say everything is interdependent. Yes, Jim.
This all seems to connect for me, my question. Recently, I've been very interested in seeing the work of a professor at Stanford, Dr. Sapolsky, who's really approached the subject of free will versus determinism. And ever since I had started coming in and absorbing Advaitic teachings, specifically from you, I had my own epiphany about free will, and because it came into deep question, and I know we all understand this, but what impressed me is that science has come along far enough that it has understandings of the brain and how the brain works and how and really challenges the idea of free will completely. And that our thoughts and our behavior and our morals and all of that are determined. And so it seems that science and Advaita are meeting in a certain way, and it's been very exciting for me to experience that, because this young man's understanding is different from mine about where all of this comes from, what we think we need to do and what we think we don't need, all of that. So I'm just wondering if the idea of what science now is calling determinism and has organic ways of trying to explain some of it, what's going on in the brain, relating to the environment, relating to all the forces that seem to impinge on us. I was just wondering if you had any thoughts about this, if it's anything that it's in a way, it seems like it's almost doing a service for your teaching to help us that thought that we all had free will. It seems like we may be heading collectively in a different direction because it seems that Advaita is suggesting that this is determined. So it's like Advaita seemed like it was ahead of of this in terms of information. I just wondered your thoughts on that subject.
My observation is that Advaita has been around for thousands of years. These non-dual pointers of various kinds have been around a long time. This isn't like news. Now, the current God, the current authority it used to be the church, and now it's the science. Now it's science. So if science says it, then some people believe it because science says it. And so for those people, yeah, that it might have some impact. I don't know.
Okay.
I have no idea what the future holds. Absolutely none. The curious thing is, often when we talk about determined, what we hear and think is predetermined.
Yes.
And so if by determined we mean that everything determines everything else as part of a seamless whole, that's one way of talking about things. And this is sort of the way that these non-dual teachings are pointing. So the way Ramesh said it was because determined means cause. Something causes something.
Mhm.
And what he said quite beautifully, he said, the universe is uncaused, like a net of jewels in which each jewel is only the reflection of all the others in a fantastic interrelated harmony without end. So everything determines everything else. What something is determined by what everything else is. This is that image, like a net of jewels in which each jewel is only the reflection of all the others. Nothing has any independent existence. What something is the reflection of everything else.
It's a lot. It's everything. Wow. Thank you.
You're very welcome.